Hi and welcome to ClassMon. This video tutorial will take you through the steps to complete the documentation required for ED2590. Now when you first run ClassMon, you'll be asked to register the software. You'll find the registration code in the Quick Start guide that we've sent you, and it's just a matter of copying and pasting the information into the registration field. So I've pasted James Cook University student. I go back to the document. I can then highlight the license key. Make sure you only highlight the characters and the dashes. Don't highlight past the text where you might get a space, because that will not work. So we copy that using Control C or Edit Copy from our menu, and then paste that into the key and hit OK. Alright, now we've registered the software and ready to go. To start using ClassMon, you first need to set yourself up as a user. So when you come to the login screen, just click Add Teacher and then fill in some details. So I'll make my login Dave J 2010, first name Dave, Jones. I'm actually Dave Harris, by the way, but I'll use Dave Jones as my screen name. And I'll add myself as a teacher. And it tells me that it's created successfully and logged in. So I hit OK. And it's asking me to add a school name. Now if you do have a school name, then use it, or you can just make up a mock name. But it is important that you put something in there. So I'll use a mock name. Leave term 1 ticked and leave it spanning across the year. And we need to make a few changes with these settings down here. Turn off the slideshow, turn on the context and effort, turn off the cover page, and check the only show latest observations in learning records. And you can leave the report title empty. Once you have it set like that, hit apply. You'll then be taken to the add class setup. So just put in a class name and hit the add button. It will tell you that your class has been created and logged in. Next you'll be asked to add your students for this class. So we'll just add a couple of students in. Just assign any student number, select your gender, and set a date of birth. You can type directly in. You need to type the year, and just make sure you click your date and that it holds into the date field. It's all automatically set to the class that we've just set up. You can also click on the student icon for the photo if you have a photo available. So I'll just add a photo here, and then click the add student button. Put that into the database. You'll see the student appear in the background. Let's add our second student. So after adding the details of your second student, click the add student button, and you'll see her appear or him appear into the background. Hit OK and then click next. You're now taken to an important part of ClassMon, which is the rubric allocation. And this is where you attach a curriculum with outcomes to the student. So you just need to select the rubric, which is the Queensland Early Years, and this will list the students that you can associate with this rubric. So just select them all and hit apply. And once you click OK, you'll see that you get some coloured buttons here, which are all the learning areas and contain all the learning statements for that framework. So that completes the setup of ClassMon. You'll now find that when you start ClassMon, or if you ever log out of ClassMon, when you log back in with your login name, you'll then have access to the classes that you've created. If I've already made observations, they will be held in the database. But we're ready to start recording our observations next. So let's make our first observation. So we'll just choose our student. We'll choose Millie. And the learning area, social and personal learning. And we'll select our learning statement, and we'll leave it on social learning, sustaining relationships, and then make our observation. So we choose a context. I'll choose play, and choose the phase of learning, exploring. And you'll see that that automatically pulls a comment in and puts Millie into that comment. Now if we just add some space there, we can then put in a narrative or learning story or some sort of anecdotal comment. So I've got some text here So I'm just going to copy this text from Notepad or from a Word document, and I'll just bring it into ClassMon and paste it in. So now we have a bit more information than just the comment here. I just hit Save Next, and that adds that observation to Millie's database. You'll then be taken to the Work Samples tab. Now for Task 2 in ED2590, you don't need to add any work samples or any other additional comments or notes. So from here, you just need to look at the actual learning record or report. So what we're going to do is just click on Millie to select her, and go to your Reports button up the top and click Learning Record. And this will produce the learning record for this student. So our learning record contains some details on the student, as you added in the student details in the setup, a legend for what the phases and the context mean, and then it's got the observations that you've made. So we've just made one observation, and here it is here. Here's the comment from the rubric, and here's the extra text that you've added. So from here, you would go back and continue with your next observation for your other child, and once you've finished, you can then print each of the learning records. And I suggest that you print to PDF, and you can hand that PDF in, or print to paper and hand it in on paper. For the second part of Task 3, we're going to record some more details for our observation than we did previously. So we're going to select a student and select the learning area active learning processes, and then choose one of the learning statements. So I'll choose imaging and responding. We make our observation, and that pulls the statement in. And we're going to not add to this statement this time. We're going to click the Save Next button and add some work samples that are related to this observation. We just click the Browse button and add any images or videos that are related to our observation. We recommend you just use images for the purpose of the ED2590 task. Okay, so you can add a number of work samples. In this case I've added 2, and we can hit Save Next. This will take us to the next tab called Additional Comments. Now this time we're going to put our narrative or learning story into this field. So I have some text in Notepad again, so I'm just going to copy the text from Notepad and paste that back into my learning story. If I'd like to format that, I can add I'll just give it a heading. This might not quite make sense, but I'll just to show you the formatting. So I'll call this a learning story. Okay, so once we've applied our additional comments, save next. We don't need to add any private notes. We apply the observation. Okay, and that's been recorded into the database. So we now have a new observation made for Meg under imaging and responding. So we're now going to take a look at the types of reports we can create for Meg. The first report you will need is the same as before, the learning record. So we select Meg and choose her learning record. We can see that there's our observation here. Now don't worry about these grey boxes, they're just because we haven't made observations for these. So just the ones that you've made observations for will expand and show the text. So there's the learning record, so you'll need to produce that report. And then for task 3, you'll also need this second report called Comments and Work Samples. So we'll click here, and that produces the Comments and Work Samples report, which will have the learning story or the narrative text that you wrote, and then the actual work samples or the photos will print on the same page. So from here, print, and you can either print to paper or generate PDF.